Yes, we are back. Not Your Everyday Podcast, Season 2. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you. Sorry, it's been a while. I've been ghost for just over 8 months, but during that time, I've been busy sourcing all the right people to bring to you on this platform. I've been interviewing some amazing people with incredible transformational stories. I'll be releasing episodes every week, so get ready. But also during this podcast break, I did some consulting work on my brand. I worked with an agency to help me interview people and come up with a new direction. We interviewed listeners, some of you who are listening now, thank you so much for participating. And I was basically trying to understand what you wanted to hear more. And this resulted in me doing a slight pivot, because this platform isn't for me. Not Your Everyday Podcast isn't for me, it's for you. And I want to serve you better. So I collected this feedback, and what came out of it was that you wanted more stories about growth, other people's growth. Not just senior leaders, but junior people, like-minded people, all types of people. So going forward, my podcast will be about, a lot of it will be about hashtag growth moments. Real models, not role models. In the past, we always looked at celebrities, authors, actors, leaders to define what great looks like. And sometimes it kind of felt a bit unattainable. It felt a bit far-fetched when you looked at all those senior people. But what we do now and what we're going to do going forward on this platform is look at growth moments from your peers. We're going to promote your peers, but also your senior leaders who just come from humble beginnings. You're not your everyday people who are transforming their lives, who are inspirational to give us the self-help and the motivation to change our lives. In the past, it was all about self-help through role models, but now it's about self-help through real models. Role focuses on performance, but real, we're going to give you that authenticity, that reality. So without further ado, I'm really excited for you to listen to today's podcast, this episode with Joivan Wade, who's an amazing guy that I know, and really glad to have him on the platform. I'm going to let him tell you his story. He's an actor. He's been on many TV shows, many films. He starred in Eastenders, Doctor Who, The First Purge, and now Doom Patrol. He's just a normal guy, from South London, and he made it to the big screens. He made it to Hollywood, and he's living his dreams. And I can't wait for you to hear his story. So first question is, in 1 minute, can you tell me your life story?
Tell you my life story in 1 minute?
Yeah, yes. So up to where you are now.
Story. Okay, time starts now. In 1 minute, okay, so I was raised by my parents, Derek Wade and Andrew Wade at the time, Andrew Graham. I was raised in Bromley in London, southeast London, born in Lewisham. So I was raised in Catford before I went to Downham, which is where I went to school. I went to a school called Rangefield School. Off the back of that, I then was playing football for a few years, and football was my be-all and end-all at the time. I was also acting alongside that, and when I didn't get into the football team that I wanted to be, and I was playing at a high level with, as you know, with Moses, and I got to the point where I fell in love with acting more than anything else. And off the back of that, I went to the Brit School. I was there for 2 years. On my third year, I created a show which went to YouTube. After that, it went to Channel 4, and then I started acting in various shows. I then picked up my first role in Hollywood, The First Purge, and now playing Doom Patrol. And I set up companies alongside that called The Wall Group, which is a production entertainment company in which I'm now building a platform for.
Just on the dot. Congrats. Well done. Very good. Now I'm going to give you extra 20 seconds to say something that you missed out. Anything.
The whole story I missed out. What did I miss out? Those are all the kind of main points. But yeah, when I was at the Brit School, I was told that I needed to go to drama school after I was already out of drama school, and I didn't really have a passion to go and study another 3 years after the 2 I'd done. And so I was a part of a theatre company which my school, the Brit School, put on as a year 14 course, and that was essentially when I met my best friend, business partner, Pastor Ascot. We then created our show, our Man on the Wall TV show, and it was, all about creating our own opportunities. And we just got sick and tired of all of the things in which we were doing, which didn't make sense. We also found that it was difficult to get commissions and, get opportunities seen. So in creating our show, knowing that our show would be the kind of stepping stone to want to create other shows. And so we did that. After we created the second show we done, which was the JPD show, our sketch show, we just found that talent country are struggling with getting shows commissioned. Hence why we had this, real need to create our platform, which was, the Wall of Comedy, which is currently the most viewed comedy platform in Europe. And so we created this platform as a means of being able to help talent. And off the back of creating, opportunities for talent then started to flock in and warm to us, and we kept developing, creating, producing their shows. And then we built out the Wall of Talent, which is our talent management company, in order to give an opportunity to then, serve that talent. And then that formula just kind of worked. And we just looked at what other areas of media we're passionate about, like music. We made the Wall of Music, the Wall of Food, the Wall of Fitness. And, it became this multifaceted media company. And then we created our production company. Well, we were always producing, but we made it official with our production company as of the Wall of Productions, in which now, we produce for TV, produce film, and we have a deal with Channel 4 to create them X amount of shows over the next couple of years. So, creating, producing, directing, writing, I want to do everything across the board. I'm passionate for everything. And my aim is to be able to create my own projects, essentially. That's why I find most love in it all. So, yeah.
Amazing. That's so amazing. When was the moment you started believing in yourself? The actual moment?
To be honest, I've always believed in myself. I was raised by my parents to a regiment to that. They always made me know that I could do and achieve whatever I wanted to achieve. And so, when I was being raised, my mum would always tell me my path was clear, and whatever I wanted to do, I could do. Whether I wanted to pursue football, or I wanted to pursue acting, or be a lawyer, or, at an early stage I wanted to be an astronaut, whatever it is that I wanted to do, she was passionate that I could do that. And so that was installed in me for a very young age. It's only when I then started to apply that to a specific field in which which I saw vision in, which was my acting career, did I just kind of take those tools in which I had from a kid and use them and apply them to be able to push myself to achieve what I wanted to achieve in my acting career. So there wasn't really a pivotal point where I decided that, now I believe in myself. I've always believed in myself due to my upbringing. I never was told that I can't do what I want to do or want to achieve. And as long as I was gifted in that area and I had the talent to do something, then, God would make a way.
But what makes you different? Because I know many people who believe in themselves, whose mum tells them that they're great and they think that they're great and they have the talent, but they didn't make it. Why did you make it?
I think why I'm making it, I suppose, I still wouldn't regard myself as made it yet, but I think why I'm making it is because I action everything. I action my belief. They say faith without works is dead. And I strongly believe that you can have all the belief that you are the best and that you are, and you can achieve whatever you achieve, but you have to put that into action. And I have sticking in work ethic. I do everything in my power in order to make sure that I can achieve what I need to achieve. I don't like to rely on people or things in which, can stand in my way. And I make sure that if the door's closed, then I build my own. And I think that's the difference is, anyone can be talented, but talent, it's dead unless you are working hard. They say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that's testament to I think my story and my self-belief system.
How much of an influence has Purcell, who you met at Brit School, had on your career compared to other friends?
Percy's had the biggest influence on my career because our careers are our vision is shared, and so we work together on most of our things. We own all of our companies in which we own. I only have one company that I don't own with Percy, and that's my American company. Outside of that, everything I own with Percy, and he's testament to everything in which I'm creating. I'm creating alongside him, and the vision that we have is shared. And so all of the influence that we have is from him, because he is the only friend that I have complete and utter business with. And so in terms of if I was to compare Percy to my other friends, I don't own businesses with my other friends or share the same vision for my career that I do with Percy. So
there's a quote that says, "Your circle says a lot about you. You can either be supported by pillars or straws." And I think Percy was that guy for you.
100%. 100%. Your environment, you tell me who your closest friends are, I'll tell you who you are. If your closest friends are 5 millionaires, chances are you're going to be the sixth. Everything, you're a product of your environment. So if you don't like the product, then change your environment.
This is going to lead me to my next question on luck and persistency. So can you identify an opportunity that you got because you were lucky and one opportunity you got because you were persistent? And I'll tell you the reason why I'm asking that question is because a lot of times some people say I was lucky and that's how they become successful. Or some people will say I was very hardworking and that's why I became successful. So I'm just trying to understand the balance between luck and persistency in your particular life.
Yeah, I don't believe in luck. I don't think there is such thing as luck. I think what people call luck is being in the right place in the right time and being prepared for the opportunity which you have to be able to take advantage of that opportunity. I think luck is something which is fathomed to help us to understand what it means when everything aligns. I think everyone's purpose is, laid out before them, and everything within your purpose is already that. Everything that you want to /will /should become is already within you. I look at you look at a seed. It's just dependent on your environment. And so based on what you're seeing, what your vision is, you attract people into your life in order to help you to execute that vision. And so God knows all things, and he puts you in a position and in an environment in which is going to harness and bring out the best in you. If you look at two seeds, right, potential is everything. You look at that in the same sense of human beings. You have everything in yourself that you need in order to become the best version of yourself. You have that seed inside you. It just depends on where you're being planted and what environment around you is going to bring out the best in you in order to help you to become that best version of yourself. And so, I don't believe in luck. I just believe in you being in the environment in which you're supposed to be in order to harness the best version of yourself. And I believe that I was in that environment, and Percy was also in that environment. And because our visions aligned, God had a bigger plan.
So you mentioned God a few times. I'm a man of faith as well, and I believe in Jesus. How much of an influence does your faith play in your success?
Everything. I don't make decisions without consulting God. I don't do anything without relying on my faith, my spirit, my instinct. Everything in which flows and which I hear, I only act upon if I feel peace and if I've prayed on it and if I've asked God to kind of direct that decision, or if I've been praying for something and it comes and I have a very close relationship, I get a lot of confirmation in a way in which I understand everyone. God speaks to everyone in different ways, but the way that we speak is very clear to help me in my situations. When it comes from even just down to roles that I've got, I've been very distinct in taking things forward. Like I even remember I was trying to get I was about to buy a place in London, and when I was trying to buy a place in London, like everything just kept falling through. I was trying to buy it with most of the cash that I had from the US, and I was struggling to get a mortgage based on the fact that a lot of the banks weren't taking my US money as a president. And so off the back of that, I'm like, why is this happening? Like, why am I continuously getting blocked? Do you not want me to to get a house? And I heard in my spirit, yeah, I do want you to buy something, but it just wasn't happening. And so lo and behold, I end up saying to myself, look, I surrender it all. I'm just gonna just stop. At that point, my friend Lou from LA, he sends me scriptures every morning from his grandma that sends him scriptures, and they're very specific. And so one morning I looked at the scripture that he sent me, which was that day. I didn't have time because I was busy that day. I didn't get to kind of look at that scripture. And that night after, I kind of just settled and just kind of gave it to God and said, look, have your will be done. And that scripture was specifically that he gave to Abraham when he was talking to him, telling him to leave your country, leave your family, leave your father's house, and I will take you to a land that I will show you. And after that, I just kind of meditated on that, and it was not meant to be, staying in London and then buying a house in London that was going to keep me there. And so off the back of that, I had been battling back and forth. I've always wanted to kind of, spend more time and be in LA. So I believe that was the next chapter of my life, and that was the environment that I was needed in order for that seed to be able to grow out and whatever that next chapter was. And I realized, wow, that's why you blocked me, Lord, because it wasn't that. Had I done that, then, I would have been in a position where I would never have, what I needed to do, or been in the position that I need to be in now for this chapter of my life. And so it's like, yeah, it's just amazing just to see how he's working in my life, and I leave everything to him, to be honest, everything I consult, because I'm a man of faith, and yeah, I don't believe it should be any other way for where I'm concerned anyway.
No, it's very inspiring to know that you have a strong faith. The next question I was going to talk about, just going to change gears slightly into Hollywood. And what was the process like preparing for your DC role in Doom Patrol before you got the opportunity and also after you got the opportunity? So what I mean is like the casting and all of that sort of phase. What was it like? What did you learn? And then once you got the role, what was it like preparing for the role? Because I know you do a lot of exercise and you go to gym and you're consistent on that. So can you just talk to us about a bit about both those time periods?
Yeah, for sure. So I did a film called The First Purge, which was released 2018 summer, so last year, and that film was my first blockbuster out here in Hollywood. And Quint Belanti, who's the exec producer of the show, he's the exec of many shows, all of the kind of DC, CW shows, all of the new ones that have been launched, and then even shows like Riverdale, etc. And so he saw me in The Purge and said, that's my cyborg. And so off the back of that, I was kind of back and forth because I actually received the audition for it some months before, and I didn't end up doing it because it was like 6-7 months away, and I'm building my company, and I kind of heard, I need to be building this company and doing what I need to do with the company, and if I'm away for that long, then my company is not in a position where it can withstand that right now. So I'll sacrifice, and we were sacrificing many roles that would take us out for a little while in order to be able to build the company. And so in doing that, I turned it down 3 times actually. It came from my UK agent, came from my US agent, and then it came back again when they said that they saw me and wanted to have a chat with me. But because I wanted to meet Greg so bad, because he's such a prolific TV producer, I just wanted to kind of chat to him. And so I said, yeah, I'll talk to him about the project in the ways that, I'll just get an opportunity to meet him. And I did just that. And in the Skype call, when I was speaking to him and the showrunner, Jeremy, they basically just sold me the project. And I understood what type of show it would be, where I would sit in that show. And I was sold in it, and my spirit said, yeah, this is for you. Like, don't worry, the company will be all right. And I stepped into that and I did the screen test and got everything kind of finalized, and ended up then getting straight into prep. And prep was, playing a superhero is very it's very specific. It coming from a comic book, it being a fictional character, which means it already exists. People have an expectation of that character. Mm-hmm. And so based on that, it's not about your interpretation of the character. It's all about you being that character, because that person exists. It's like playing a biopic, And so there were certain things in which I had to adhere to. The one thing I got away with, which, blessed be to God, that's why I know that everything which is for you is for you. If you have a role and it's for you, then you will get it. There's no one that can take it away. There's no one that can stop it. If it's not for you, it will never happen. If it is for you, it will always happen, no matter what happens. And I've had that experience various times now. And, I was in a position where that was obviously for me. And so that character is a superhero. And so, it has very physical demands on that character when it comes to his visual appearance and how he looks, and the fact that he is very athletic. He's in the gym, he looks a certain way, so I had to put on like a 25 pounds of muscle after I got that role. And so it was vigorous training before it, and I only had a very short space of time in order to kind of get into it. I'd say I had like a month to get into it. Once I got the role, I was shooting that show for 8.5 months, and I was training 5 days a week in Atlanta. And so when you're so used to doing that 8.5 months, it's very close to a year, 5 days a week, that's most of your time, and so it becomes a habit. And so now it just kind of is continued, and there's, space in between the next season. Now I've got season 2, which comes up in November, and I probably had about a month and a half off maybe, in terms of like training vigorously.
What keeps you motivated to keep doing it? Because you get good days, you get bad days. How do you stay consistent? The whole discipline of being an actor.
I think your why. It depends on why you want to do something. And I want to be the best. That's my be all and end all. I want to be the best. I want to change lives. I want to have people watch my work and be inspired, be motivated. I want to spawn the next generation of young actors in which come after me, in which have watched me and seen me as an inspiration for them. And so I have a responsibility. Uncle Ben says with great power comes great responsibility, and I'm working towards receiving that power. And with that power comes that responsibility and that recognition that, okay, you were sent on this earth in order to do something. And when something is bigger than yourself, it allows you to realize that, it's not about what you feel like. It's not about you. It's about the end goal and the purpose and the bigger picture. And that's always at the center and the forefront of my mind, what I want to achieve and how I want to change people's lives. And so, if I wake up in the morning, like let's not lie. Most people, even when you do something, being motivated is not about meaning that you want to that you want to do something every single day. It's that you don't want to do something and you do it anyway because you have a why, you have a drive, you have something that makes you want to go. I'll probably say like 2 times in a week. I'd say like 3 sessions in that week I'm happy to kind of do, and I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, I need to get into the gym today. I want to get into the gym. 2 of those sessions in that week, I'm probably like, I've got to get to the gym today, but at those times is when the why kicks in, which is, seeing that the opportunity is bigger than myself and I have to do this in order to become the best.
Why do you have that burden? Why do you feel like you need to change people's lives?
Why? Because, I always say, like, if whatever it is that you do doesn't help other people more than it helps yourself, then that's probably not your purpose. Because if your purpose was to help yourself, then you wouldn't be alive. So, yeah, just kind of looking deeper and really trying to understand exactly why you are here. And based on that, you know that you got a job to do. So, so do it.
So powerful. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to take a lot of encouragement from that. What has Hollywood taught you so far?
Networking is key. I think it works very different out here to how it works back home in London, in terms of you can literally be at an event or be at a party, and which is complete social, and you meet someone and 3 months later you're on set with them producing or doing a Hollywood film. It's very much about how you connect with people, and it's not, the industry is not just full of people wanting to make projects for the sake of making projects. People actually want to work with people that they like, and being likable is a huge factor. And like at the same time, what I also learned, which is a big thing, is that it's not too dissimilar to filmmaking. Is filmmaking, no matter where you are. You've got a camera in your face and you got to act. It's just down to how much money is in the production or how many people are around it, and that changes. But other than that, it's all really the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to talk about, like, if you don't mind, about fear and failure, because I'm conscious that I want to show different sides of you, and you're really good at this anyway. So my question is, what fears have you had to overcome, or are you still overcoming? Depends.
The fears I'm overcoming would be the fear. My biggest fear is not achieving everything I want to achieve, and essentially, not fulfilling my purpose. That's my biggest fear, and because of how big I have of a fear of that is what drives me so much, in order to make sure that I don't become that, or I don't put myself in that situation. So that's a big fear of mine. I have a fear of not being able to facilitate for my friends and family, which is what also drives me. I think one of my biggest fears, one thing I have to kind of wash off, is just forgetting about what people think about you and how they perceive you. Because often we can be in a position where we don't want to do certain things, or we don't want to, put ourselves out there because we're afraid of how we might come across. But understanding that, it's not about you, and it's about the bigger picture, and that you're serving so much more of a bigger purpose than serving how someone looks upon you or how they think about you. And it's completely irrelevant, because that is not changing anyone's life. But you stepping out and doing what you need to do, no matter how you look, is, and that's something that I battle with every day. And I'm still, trying to control and taming that fear. But yeah, I try not to live in fear. I think that I live heavily in faith, and so I try to live heavily in faith, and through doing that, it kind of helps to kind of trump a lot of my fears.
Yeah, because it's a difficult position you have when you're an actor and you're highly criticized, because it's so public. And I didn't know, like, being in your position, whether you got a coping mechanism for that, because when you feel like you haven't done your best and the media picks up on it and they write an article and then it gets traction, like, how do you feel about that? And do you what's your coping mechanism?
I think it's more so your coping mechanism of what happens when it's out of your control. I always try to do my best, and I always kind of put it out there, whether or not your best was the best you can possibly do, or about, people are always going to have an opinion, and essentially we're also going to focus on the things in which people speak about, which is negative, because you can have 100, and you go on Instagram, you got 150 great comments, you got one person that snags at you and says something offensive or negative towards you, and you focus all your time and attention on that. That's just based on survival. As humans, we have a survival instinct, in which is what protects us from everything, from the moment that you say your opinion, and if someone doesn't like your opinion, you get defensive on that, because your survival mechanism kicks in, and you don't want to be penetrated. You don't want to be in a position where someone is able to kind of break down your walls. And so that's what anchors us in every way, and understanding that that's just human nature, and that's the way that we operate. You can start to then look to try and tame that, and understand how to tame that. And so finding ways in order to cope with that and understand what actually matters in your life is pivotal to how you then respond to those types of things.
Yeah, no, I agree. And but what differentiates I guess people who do well and don't do well is they still go ahead, they still do it. What advice would you give your 21-year-old self?
Keep doing the same thing. I think that often you kind of look back and you say, I would tell myself not to do this or not to do that, and don't make that mistake and that mistake. But even the mistakes that I made, people take them as L's. I take them as lessons. Everything I've gone through, everything that has happened that at the time I thought was negative, I thought was bad, has worked in my favor. And at the time, you don't understand what's happening or why it's happening, but you have to just be rooted in your faith and understand that if it's happening and you're doing everything in your power to make it happen, and it's still not happening, there's a reason for that. It's not the right time, or there's something that you have to learn. And so I'd say to my 21-year-old self, it's going to happen, and you know it's going to happen, because you keep saying it's going to happen, and that's self-belief, and that is what is going to make it happen. So keep that faith, keep that drive, keep that determination, don't change, and keep the people around you solid, and make sure that everyone around you is what you need in order for that seed to be able to manifest into what it truly should and will become. That's probably what I tell my 21-year-old self.
Right. Okay. How do you define success in your life?
How I define success is happiness. Am I happy? Truly. Because success does not come from your achievements, your accolades, how much money you have. It doesn't. It comes from the things in which is what make you wealthy, your relationships, happiness, the people around you, everything that, is imparted in you, what you're imparting on other people. That's success. How happy are you? How happy am I? Because there's different areas, someone who is in a position where, people look at me and say, oh yeah, I'm successful based on their model of success. I look at a man in which is, 26 years old, and he's married and he has a kid, and he, is able to look after his family and his wife, and he's building out a legacy. I see that as successful. Take away whatever he's doing in his career, that's a part of success that I want, so that's what I see as success, and probably the easiest way to constitute that.
And the last couple is, this might be a difficult question, it might not be, but I always ask this question at the end of my podcast, and it's, how would you define your leadership style?
How do I define my leadership style? I don't really have a word for it. I have an animal. This is how I define my leadership style.
What is that, a lion?
I'm a lion.
Lion King.
I'm a lion, yes. I think, everything, the reason why I'm so close to why I have a lion around my neck is what a lion represents. Fearless. I'm fearless. I take risks. I help people. I allow people to become the best versions of themselves. You shouldn't know from face value who the leader is in the pack. You should feel and you should see based on example, but you shouldn't know. And if you're trying to put yourself in a position where everyone knows that you're a leader based on, visual aspect or, how you control relationships, etc., you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
No, that's amazing. Thank you, Joivan, man. You've been so helpful and in so many ways that you don't even know, and you're blessing people, you're inspiring people, you're the man that you've always wanted to be, and it's encouraging to hear your story, but also how determined you are. I keep saying that word determined because that's what I get from the sense of our conversation is a man who's clear on his vision. And I think for young men as well out there, we need to be clear on what we want from life. And I I tend to talk to people, and I don't really get that sense that as men and in society we know what we want, and that's why we make quite a lot of mistakes, or whether it's in relationships or whether it's in career-wise, it's like, and we get frustrated on progression, and I think a lot of it is down to just not being clear on, as a man, what do I want from a woman, what do I want from my career, what do I want from God, and having that clarity, like you've just shown, will actually provide the success and provide what you want. And it's good to hear that from you and to connect with you on that level.
100%, bro. Thank you for having me, man, and keep doing this. This is what people need. This is, the more people like yourselves, which are using their time in order to empower our next generation, is where you'll be rewarded. So thank you for your time, and yeah, man, I appreciate you.